welcome online. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Just waffling along while I'm waiting for this to start. Here we go. Right, we're live streaming right across the world on YouTube and on Facebook and so forth. And we're here in the Zoom room. So welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we're actually going to be putting a little timer just to get the event started. If you're on here late, meaning you didn't see the happy birthday we were singing, well, you missed the start, but that's all good. Give us 2 seconds. We're going to set up the live streaming and play this timer. This is your opportunity to make sure your team is online. Alrighty, if you're logging on right now and you don't speak English, fret not, because we do have closed captions. Have a listen to this.
Por favor, vaya a la parte inferior de la pantalla en Zoom o YouTube y haga clic en subtítulos para leer en español.
Kérlek, menj a képernyő aljára, a Zoomon vagy a YouTube-on, a Closed Caption részre, és ott el tudod olvasni magyarul a feliratot.
Silakan klik di layar bawah pada Zoom atau YouTube dan klik caption untuk membaca dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Pour les sous-titres en français, veuillez cliquer au bas de votre écran Zoom ou YouTube sur CC ou Closed Captions.
Zoom または YouTube の画面の下部に移動し、字幕をクリックして日本語で読んでください。
請到屏幕底部點閱隱藏字幕以閱讀中文。
Παρακαλώ πηγαίνετε στο κάτω μέρος της οθόνης, στο Zoom ή στο YouTube και κάντε κλικ στους υπότιτλους για να τα διαβάσετε στα ελληνικά.
請到屏幕底部點擊隱藏字幕以閱讀中文.
אנא עברו לתחתית המסך בזום וביוטיוב ולחצו על תרגום לכתוביות בעברית.
Proszę zejść na dół ekranu na Zoomie lub YouTubie i kliknąć napisy, żeby przeczytać po polsku.
Alrighty, welcome online, ladies and gentlemen, for our pre-Neumi week last members night as we get close to celebrating our birthday. Now, a lot of people have typed in the chat, happy birthday, Neumi, because they were on early and they heard we had the happy birthday song playing loud and clear. People are on from Washington State, from Perth, Western Australia, from New York, from Indonesia. We've got people from happy birthday, lots of happy birthdays, Ontario, Canada. We've got Charleston, that's a dance, isn't it? We've got Western Australia, New Zealand. We've got people logging in from absolutely everywhere. So if, Keith, if you can keep an eye on the door, that'd be wonderful, just to keep people coming in. Now, today, guys, we just set an alert about getting on today's event. Why was that important? Because some of you are coming on here going, whoa, I'm going to hear all the announcements today. No, you're not. But I'll explain why we promoted this event so heavily. Now, this is the later session for Neumi members night. Of course, there's other sessions happen at different times. This particular session, we're actually going to be just giving you a sneak peek as to what you're going to see over the next couple of days, and make sure you don't miss those sessions. And apologies, someone is drilling directly above my office. You've got to be kidding. Can you hear that, guys? If you can, type it in the chat. I'm hoping it doesn't last very long because it was unexpected. You can't hear it. Oh, good. It's the guy with a hammer drill. All right. So I wanted to kick off, guys, just by talking about our fourth anniversary, our fourth birthday, because you know what? For me, it's easy to remember this birthday because it was the 7th of the 7th, 21, and my birthday is on the 15th of the 7th. So just giving you a heads up, we like presents, Ferraris, Lamborghinis. No, just joking. No presents needed, but it's very easy for me to remember the birthday because it's always the week before mine. And I wanted to let you know that we're live streaming right now. And we're live streaming onto, as I said, YouTube, social media, as we normally do. So you can have a playback. And some people will be watching this playback maybe in the next hour, 2 hours, next day. So guess what? Neumi Week will not be live streamed. Just being clear, if you don't have a ticket, you will get to miss everything. Okay, it will not be live streamed. It'll be a week-long event. If you've got your ticket, which is $25, you will be able to access playbacks, but it will not be live streamed. You won't be able to go to YouTube, go to Facebook and go, I'll just watch the playback. Critical to know, because some people in your group might be going, that's cool. I'll just watch it on the playback on YouTube. No, you won't. So with that in mind, I wanted to say a few of us were here in the proud moment that we birthed Neumi. In fact, I was here at the conception way before that 7 years ago, where we found, I want to say something, it doesn't sound crude this way, but found a sperm donor to come in and actually help launch the company. That was our investors. So I was involved way back then. So I've got this heart connection to the company that I feel like it's ours because we helped find those investors. We helped get everything kicked off. So we were here for the conception, here for the pregnancy, here for the birth, which was 4 years ago. We've been here through the crawling. We've been here through the walking, and we're now here through the running as well. And, we've created a culture along the way. It's funny, I heard someone say about a year ago, we don't have a culture. Well, unfortunately, that person's no longer with the company anymore. And that's because the culture that they were looking for wasn't the culture of Neumi. And the culture of Neumi is it's about transforming lives, making a difference to other people. It's an ego-less environment, right? Now, there's a good, healthy ego, but not an ego as in, all about me, that sort of stuff. And so we've been defending the culture, building the culture, and growing the culture over the last 4 years. And you know how sometimes if you've had children and they get around the wrong people and they get influenced to take their lives in a different direction, like association's important. This is where we've had to, if you like, bring the company back on track and make sure it's not hijacked to run in a different direction. The analogy I want to give you, it's very similar to building or growing a big oak tree. Okay, what do I mean by that? I just noticed someone's not letting anyone in. I'll let them in myself. And so growing a big oak tree, right? Now, sometimes when you're growing a plant, it starts off like a little seed. It grows some roots, and then it starts to grow, and then the wind comes along and blows it away because the roots are not deep enough, because we haven't ingrained that culture deep enough. And then what happens is a branch falls off, but then another branch sprouts out and just grows bigger. Sometimes you've seen branches grafted onto a tree, and then they continue to grow from that perspective as well. So in the last 4 years, some branches have come and gone, and that's normal with a new company, because maybe the energy was different. When we started this company, I remember saying jokingly, and please excuse my French, it's not French. We said we had a no asshole philosophy. Right. Now, when I say that, it was like we wanted people who were the right culture, the servant leadership, that sort of thing. And, like oil and water don't mix if you put them in a petri dish. Sometimes people might have come to Neumi, moved on because they're not that kind of culture, and that's totally okay. So I wanted to, rather than run training today, I wanted to talk about what have we done in the last 3 to 6 months. And I was telling Sergio, I had a look over the content that we've done on Members Night. And Members Night is the most critical night for all of you to be on. We've covered vision mapping and goal setting, personality types, perfecting your invitation, 5 ways to strike gold, so extending your list beyond your warm list and keep building the business with new contacts. We talked about third-party validation, personal branding with social media. We've covered the road to 1-star official Neumi 123 training. We've done back office reporting, hints and tips. I could go on. We've done your 90-day run, the Fast Start plan, the 90-day plan. And of course, we've had events with doctors, naturopaths, all sorts of things, and corporate updates and promotions and enhancements to the program. All of that in the last 3 to 6 months of our coming up to our 4th anniversary. Today, I wanted to cover off just briefly as we introduce today's session, mindset and commitment. They're 2 things that will separate members that spin their wheels and those that actually get a lot of traction. And so I want to ask you where you would see your commitment level is at right now. So what do I mean? I kicked off talking about, Neumi's birthday, and talked about planting a tree and then ingraining those roots and, building a big legacy business with a big oak tree that will stand the test of time. So you'll probably fall in one of these 3 categories. And I want you to think about this. It's either you're a deeply rooted servant leader, maybe write this down. Maybe, or you're a surface level sprout, not a Brussels sprout, or maybe you're a drifting seed. What do I mean? So a deeply rooted servant leader. This is something we really want to encourage. What is that? That's someone who's deeply planted, nourished, and growing. consistently attending events, training and mentoring with the team all the time, right? These are things that a deeply rooted servant leader would do. So that's someone who in the early stages of their Neumi career attends all the events and commits to watching all the basic training and then regroups with a mentor and then practices their invitation out loud. And they understand that the growth, and this is the important part, the growth is more about internal growth than what's happening to them externally. Meaning Neumi's business model, hey, it ain't perfect, but it's one of the best in the industry. So we start looking internally at how we can grow and we can become better. And that's going to take a lot of commitment. That's going to take personal introspection. That's going to be real about us growing as individuals. And when we do that, guess what? That's what's going to grow a strong company. So that is a deeply rooted servant leader. Now, as someone commits to growing themselves, as Phoebe Wallace put it once, and I love this, right? She talked about the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise always makes it to the finish line, and they maybe spend more time growing themselves internally and making sure they defend the culture of Neumi, and they're really in this, warts and all, everything, heart, everything, both feed into the business, right? And so they may not be the fastest, but they're certainly going to be the strongest over the long term. And I want to encourage that because sometimes you'll see people in Neumi come in and go, like we've got a beautiful lady who's just joined the team, downloaded the Greek team in someone's team. Where is she? I saw her before. Can't see her now. That's all right. Oh, Irene, that's right. In Irene's team. And this lady has 40 years experience. 40. She's been in corporate. She's been in lots of things. And she'll come in and I'll guarantee you guys now, hang on to your hat. She's probably going to go like warp speed throughout all of Europe and into Asia as well. And that's fantastic. Remember, her roots of the tree have been going into the ground for 20 years, guys. So you can't expect to be brand new and compete at that level, at that speed. But your journey starts now. So where are you going to put those roots in? What are you going to focus on? Or maybe we have some people in the team who I would call a surface level sprout. What's a surface level sprout? What it means, can they grow? Absolutely. They show potential, but they haven't developed the habits or consistency yet to thrive. Okay. There's someone who maybe attends a Neumi event every now and then, but doesn't commit to training or practice their craft or, get a mentor and practice your approach with somebody in the early stages, and they may or may not make it through to leadership. But sometimes people come in, when I talk about surface level sprouts, they come in and maybe they've got that experience from a previous company, but unfortunately they come in and they're going, I want to change the comp plan, Aaron. I want to change the system a little bit because it suits what I've done in the past. And then after a frustration of, sometimes a few months or even a few years, they may go, you know what, I'm not getting my way, stamp my feet, and then they move on. But they leave beautiful big teams behind them that are now flourishing and growing so fast around the world. And I've seen an actual example of that recently. So in that team are people who did embrace the culture and commit to internal growth, and they weren't looking to change Neumi, they were looking to change themselves, and they've gone on to flourish. And so we often look underneath the surface level sprouts that can be blown with the wind and disappear. We find some of these deeply rooted servant leaders. And the final one would be a drifting seed. And a drifting seed can be blown away from the wind. They're unfocused. They don't have any roots yet. They've got no routine and they don't have any real growth of substance, right? That person maybe hasn't even written their list down. And I spoke to someone new in my team the other day who I said, have you written your list? No, not yet. And I'm like, well, why are we starting talking to people if we haven't done the basics? Have you written down your reason why? No, not yet. Well, that person could be blown away with the wind in 30 seconds flat. I'm sure you can agree with me. So here's the conundrum. We have to attract people from all of those categories, right, in order to grow the core Neumi business, because some people will come in, as I said, they may not match the culture, but they'll bring in teams who do. Then they walk out. Often they're very heavy ego-wise, and they leave behind some beautiful people who are ego-less, who then go on to become those deeply rooted servant leaders. So I wanted to talk about this today because I want to ask you this question. Are you, and you want to think about this internally, are you green and growing rather than ripe and rotting? Are you that deeply rooted servant leader? Are you going to, from this 4th year of anniversary of Neumi moving forward, are you going to focus on growing you as a person, right? Because it's our wins that don't, sorry, it's not our wins that grow us. And it's not our triumphs and all that sort of stuff. It's actually the challenges that you've faced in the last few years that grow you as a person. And that's what people admire. So yes, we'll have someone go bang diamond in 30 seconds. When I was looking at the recognitions this month, I noticed a gentleman who was in his 80s who hit diamond in 4 months. And I was blown away with that because his motive was he wanted to get his wife to come on a European trip with him. And in 4 months, bang, went diamond. Now that's inspiring, right? Now, there are going to be other people who are going to be recognized for diamond after 3 years, 4 years, even 5 years. And that will be even more inspiring because they hung in there and they grew as a person. So remember, it's not your wins and your triumphs that actually define you. It's actually how you grow internally as a person. And that's the culture that we really want people to understand about Neumi. It's about personal growth. It's about making a difference to other people. It's about growing individually. So as we look at this next kickoff period, and as we look at the event that we're about to do with Neumi Week, which is going to be packed through the roof with content, I want you to think about becoming a better person, becoming a better leader, and becoming the sort of person that you earn the respect of the people that you're leading in Neumi. Remember, integrity is what you do when no one's watching. And that's what defines a leader sometimes. Sometimes it's the tough decisions, the things you've got to do that aren't popular, but they're the things that are actually going to continue to grow the business and defend the culture and defend the integrity and heart of this beautiful organization. So enough of a rant from me. I want to say happy birthday to Neumi and to absolutely every person who's joined us on this journey and going to continue with us on this journey. Remember what I just said at the very start. This session is live streamed. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. But next week, Neumi Week, ain't being live streamed onto any platforms. So if you don't have a ticket, you're going to miss some amazing stuff. And I know that lots of pluses in the being typed in there right now. I know that Sergio, our Vice President of Sales, is excitedly looking forward to what we're about to roll out to you in Neumi Week as well. He's also had some fantastic recognitions he's probably going to talk about on this call today. So with that, I'm going to hand you over, if you want to turn your camera on and unmute, Sergio, I'm going to hand you over to Sergio, once he turns his camera on, to kick off from a corporate perspective on today's event. And I'm speaking slowly because, Sergio, you don't have a camera yet.
There we go. There we go. There we go. It's kind of froze for a minute. Well, guys, I had something fun here. Kind of fell off. My wife walked by and kind of laughed at me, but happy birthday, Neumi. It's a pleasure to celebrate. Whoops. Well, you get the points. It's a great celebration. I'm here celebrating with Neumi. Happy birthday. And for me, it's really cool because it's actually right kind of close to when I came into the company a year ago. So very excited. And, you know, as Michael said, next week, you're going to be hearing a lot from us. We are really putting a lot of heart in what we're preparing, and we have a lot of wonderful things that you're going to love. In fact, I'm going to invite you to look in our social media in the next few days because you're going to see a small clip of what you're going to expect on the first day. So instead of me playing that tonight, I'm going to actually invite all of you to go to our official Facebook channel, and you will see a fun clip of what to expect. But you're going to receive that training that Aaron has been talking about. We're going to receive a training on how to do this wonderful business through social media with things constantly changing. You're going to hear that on Monday. And again, that is free. We decided to open that for everyone. But just to echo what Michael said, it's not going to be an event where we're going to be using this platform on Neumi TV. Having said that, obviously, because we're starting at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Savings Time, we're not going to have our traditional kickoff call. We won't have the traditional calls that we do, but you're going to have a full week of good information. So don't miss out. Monday is open to everyone, but I do recommend you get your tickets now. You can actually save money. I've talked about this several times, but you can save some money if you even purchase a 10-pack. You can go in with your group, your organizations. You can get a 10-pack of tickets for $200 on Eventbrite, and you can go directly on that at neumiweek.com. I do recommend you take advantage and save. And so how this is going to work, I want to just be sure, because I have a surprise to actually share with you today. So we've been talking about how this is going to be our very first virtual event at Neumi worldwide, where we're going to celebrate our anniversary. We're celebrating that wonderful fourth birthday, and we're going to drive into something huge. As we have grown all over the world, now in 74 markets, there isn't a better way than to bring everyone together. we've been out on the road a lot this year with the Achieves, and I've even attended a few meetings. I'll be back out in a few weeks. We got a lot of momentum going on, and that's not going to stop. So I congratulate all of you leaders that are working side with us in putting on events. But why do you need to be at Neumi Week? And why should anybody interested in Neumi be there? Well, the first day, as I said, you don't want to miss on a training that will help you enormously. I've shared this a few times before, but this team Oksana, now maybe I'll invite Michael to share something at the very end because he actually knows the keynote speaker personally. I attended a seminar where I attended the training specifically, not even knowing that we were considering this group for Neumi Week. The following week, I go into the office and I see her and her husband. I'm like, oh, I was part of the audience of your wonderful presentation. I took a lot of notes on and even shared with Chris on a later on playback. And so I was very happy to hear that that's where you're going to start because we're going to learn from an expert who has received awards, who's been recognized. And I know that's a wonderful kickoff and that's open to everyone. But again, there will be a special link. In fact, let me check my phone because I requested something for you. Okay, so I'm still waiting for something that we're going to have, but we're going to be posting a link that you can actually use to log in. Now, for any of the other days, you will not be able to play back. We've talked in the beginning about how we're going to best manage this, and there have been some fun updates and good changes, so please pay attention. So because we are in 74 markets worldwide, we wanted to make sure that everyone that's a part of the Neumi family had an opportunity to watch this live, and not only that, but have the best access to our translation technology that we are actually using for this specific event. As I've talked about in a few meetings in the past, some of you that were at the Achieve events have already experienced what this technology is. It's a platform called Wordleys. And so at the very beginning of the meeting, we'll give you instructions on what you do, but it's just a QR code that you'll scan and it's going to be phenomenal. I was in Thailand not that long ago with Michael Firth, with Aaron, with Anton, and Jonathan from Indonesia, one of our diamonds that was presenting. I do not speak any Indonesian, yet I felt his energy, of course, because he's a very energetic leader, but I just felt that I was understanding and grasping everything he was saying in Indonesian through this wonderful technology. And it was really a fun experience. I had not ever had the privilege to use something like that. You know, we use subtitles. And so that's going to be a real treat. And what we're going to do differently, we talked in the beginning that we were going to do a live session, and then you were going to be able to go in and look at the content. We are no longer doing that. Why? Because we want to make sure that everybody can connect to a meeting. So how we're going to start is at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Savings Time. We're going to go ahead and kick off live every day, Monday through Saturday. And once we finish around 11:30 or you know, it can vary, noon our time, in the afternoon, we'll replay that live session. And by doing that, it'll be a live session for the next group of members that want to join, and they'll be able to use that platform live. So we don't want to rely just on subtitles. We want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to take advantage of that technology. Now, if you can't make that meeting, so the first one will be at 9. The second one will be at 2. And please bear with me because I know there are sometimes last minute changes, and I will be sure we update this on our database. But then we'll have one more in the evening, which will be our late evening at 8 p.m. Actually, let me take the second. So it'll be 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock Mountain Daylight Savings Time, and then we'll do a last replay at 8 p.m. Mountain Daylight Savings Time. And so what does that mean? That really no matter where you're at in the world, you're going to have the opportunity to watch it in a live session and take advantage of the technology. So we look forward to that. We want to hear your feedback, and we're excited to be part of Neumi all together with you that week. So Monday, we'll kick off with that Oksana training. On Tuesday, we have a science-driven day. So what does that mean? On Tuesday, we're going to hear from some of the doctors in our medical board, and we will also have an additional training from a recent new up rank from Europe that is going to share some wonderful news, but that's a day you don't want to miss. I've seen the numbers every time we have any sort of medical speakers or doctors that participate in any of the Neumi calls. I see the numbers really go off high. So I know many of you are excited. And this is actually going to be very new information. You're going to definitely learn something from that day. As we head into the next day, you're going to hear from two of our wonderful crowns. You'll hear from Alex Monterosa. You will also hear from Karen Justice. You're going to hear some trainings from them, among some other exciting trainings and announcements. As we head into Thursday, you're going to hear from our crown, Michael Firth, and he has a very good training that he's going to do on how to use AI technology. And I'm excited for that one because it's going to be something that you do not want to miss. I know I look forward to learning because every day I'm learning something new on how AI, as you said, Michael, can be made simple. And so you do not want to miss that. As we go into later on that day, you'll hear from the executive team on Thursday. So you're going to get to hear from Chris Fowler from your servant here. I know that sounds kind of weird in English, but it's the same in Spanish. That's why I use that word. But I am here to serve you at the end of the day. So we're going to be sharing some wonderful opportunity with that. You'll also hear a little bit about the a panel regarding on PRP. And then on Friday, as we work our way, we're going to do a product launch. I know you've all been waiting to know what that product launch is all about. So we're going to hype it up so that we can launch that on Friday. And among other surprises, I'm not going to give you every little detail because I want you to be there. But that's what we're going to be doing. So expect a product launch next Friday. And then on Saturday, as we finish up, we are going to do a recap. We have a very unique opportunity. We were going to have an official Neumi opportunity presentation. So we want all of you to invite anyone that's a good prospect. That is also an open day because we will have an opportunity presentation and we'll also give you some tips for members on some excitement on how you can continue to grow your business as you're prospecting, among other things. So we know that things are different all over the world, and that's why it's fun that we're an international family because we learn from each other. And there are that day you do not want to miss because I can tell you that something nice is going to be introduced to the field. I think everybody's going to be very happy. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but on that day, we're going to definitely introduce something to you that you are going to love. And I know you're going to probably use on a daily basis. So that's kind of a wrap, a little bit of what you can expect. However, there is more. I just wanted to give you kind of a feeling for what to look for. If you have not purchased your tickets, again, you can go through our Eventbrite site and you will have the ability to purchase the one ticket for $25 or the 10-pack for 10. Don't be afraid. You can have, there you go, Keith. You can have, you can give these away to prospects. I mean, I've seen people that have not ever had the opportunity to attend conventions or events like this, and they were there for the very first time at similar events, and it was a very eye-opening. Just what I mentioned with the trainings on specific topics, the medical keynote speakers we have, it's going to be a fun time. So we look forward. And again, right now at the office, we're all just cruising, working around the clock to really get everything ready and to go. And I can tell you, we're ready. We're ready to go, and we're ready to go beyond Neumi Week for what we have post Neumi Week, and even through the end of the year as we head into our 5-year anniversary. So don't miss out. As Michael said, this will not be posted on YouTube. This will not be played in the app. This will have a unique place. So it's almost like being present at an event. The only difference is instead of having to spend, hundreds of dollars, even though it is a lot of fun to travel, and I look forward to seeing all of you at a great convention next year. Really, the $25 is what you would spend on one meal. And what an opportunity to have the ability to connect when it's most convenient for you, whether it's in the morning in the United States or the morning in Australia or the evening in Asia. We're trying to make it available to everybody worldwide, and look out for some very upcoming information, which will give you the exact details on how you can access the meeting. However, if you have a ticket, you will have a specific registry number, so that will be a lot simpler. But if you have a prospect that's interested in joining us on Monday or Saturday, that maybe not be able for the entire Neumi week, because it is open, we'll give you instructions on that. There'll be specific links, and it won't be Neumi.tv. So Next week, we're going to give Neumi.tv a little break, but look out for information and post. And we're excited. I can tell you that the energy here, as I mentioned, it's really good. Where everybody from Aaron to Chris, Anton, just everyone in the office, we're excited and we can't wait to share this with you. And now that I'm going to close, I would like to have Michael just share a few thoughts on his experience with this wonderful keynote speaker that will be training us on Monday to kick things off. Back to you, Michael. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Savings Time on Neumi Week.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sergio. And yeah, look, let me give you an insight. So from my perspective, one of the biggest things I've seen that is a challenge for the industry is where people with social media don't have any proper training. So they think what they need to do is post the word Neumi every 30 seconds. And it was really refreshing to meet Sam from Auxano a few years ago. And as soon as I heard what she trained and how she trained it, I said, you are 100% in sync with the official training we have in the back office. But I said, they need to hear it from someone other than us, because internally they may think it's an opinion rather than a fact. And so when you hear Sam train from Auxano, she's going to give you some engagement tips on social media, which will stop you coming across as a spammer and will encourage you to come across in the right way, which is building relationships and bonding with people. And she's going to give you some amazing content. In fact, if I say too much more, I'll get in trouble, but there'll be something beyond that. If you do attend, there'll be something beyond that that you can do with Sam that will be launched as well. Now, when you get to my AI topic, I'm going to dovetail those things directly into what she does. We've been talking behind the scenes. And on the talking behind the scenes front as well, she said, is there anything specific that they need to know from your perspective? And I said, yes, don't copy what I do on social media when you're just looking at the outside looking in, and don't copy any influencers we have in the team, because when you've got 10,000 people on a Facebook, you can post a Coca-Cola can and someone's going to buy it, right? You've got enough people to burn. When you have a small social media platform, you don't have that luxury, and you can burn it in 30 seconds flat if you copy the wrong actions. So she's going to talk about engagement tips, not just posting tips, right? And I can't edify to you enough why you need to go and see her session. That's the number one thing. You go to that, we're going to transform your social media, which will transform your business as well. And so that's one of the most exciting sessions. Now, there's so many other sessions, as we've just said in there, that I can't wait for, but they all kind of interlink and dovetail as well. And I apologize, someone's hammering downstairs. So that's enough from me, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys on Neumi Week.